wanted to check back in and tell that story. I've read it a couple of times. I took notes for the International Corncob Pipe Month video, but I didn't take any notes for this. I've read it a few times, so I may not hit every point completely accurate, but I did want to touch base on a story that kind of changed the way I thought of my hometown. Still smoking my corn cob here. Actually have Sleepy Hollow in it. It's delicious, by the way. It's the first time I'm smoking Sleepy Hollow. It just kind of made sense to smoke Sleepy Hollow when I'm standing in front of a haunted jail. So the story I'm going to tell is the story of Carl Ethington. I'm going to take a little walk while I do so because of what happened to him. Just down the road, you can almost see it from here. So, Carl Ethington was 17 years old, from Kentucky, lied about his age. We're going to jump around a little bit, and I apologize for that. It's just so much information. Lied about his age, went to Cleveland, and became a dry agent, which, you know, back then, if you don't know what a dry agent is, it's exactly what it sounds like. There were a lot of places that didn't want to have liquor, so when they would vote to not have liquor, anybody that would go against that, they would hire dry agents to come in, arrest the people that were breaking the law, and you know, obviously get them in jail, get them, you know, prosecute them for breaking the law. Newark, my quiet, sleepy little town, this is downtown here. Newark, which I didn't know, had 80 saloons, houses of prostitution. Just, this place was a cesspool, evidently. My quiet little town was like freaking Sodom and Gomorrah. It's just hard to picture it, man. I grew up, this is just a family town. Anyway, so being what it was, there were crooked cops, cops that were on the take, just being paid off or bribed with sex and drugs and alcohol, and just, you know, making 4 times what they would make, just looking the other way. So Licking County decided to vote to go dry, and Newark decided they didn't want to do that, so they kept things the way they were. And the neighboring town of Granville, their mayor had called in and reported it to the offices in Cleveland to let them know that, you know, they weren't following what they were supposed to be. So a bunch of dry agents were dispatched to Newark to get it under control. And I'm kind of racing through it a bit here, but Carl Ethington was one of the dry agents that was dispatched here. And while they were going in to saloons, the one they went into, there was a retired police chief there, and he had owned one of the saloons and obviously didn't want things to be shut down as well. So they got into a brawl, and evidently this police chief was just beating the crap out of Carl Ethington, and he ended up pulling his gun and he shot the retired police chief in the stomach and in the chest. He didn't die right away. He did eventually die, but Carl Ethington was taken to the county jail to stand trial for murder. While he was in the jail, 5,000 men, women, and children formed a mob and gathered around the jail, trying to get inside. Eventually, the mayor stepped aside, and the mob made their way into the jail. Once in the jail, the current sheriff, who was also on the take, handed them the keys. And sorry if this is windy, by the way. Handed them the keys. They made their way to the 3rd floor. And it's not really, they don't really know exactly if Carl Ethington died in his cell or when he was further humiliated. But it was known that they went up there and they possibly beat him to death, if not beat him within inches of his life, with sledgehammers and other, who knows, boards, 2x4, anything they could get a hold of. They beat this man to death. He was then drug out of the jail, drug downtown to the square, and if I remember right, if I remember reading that, there's our town square. He was drugged right to where I'm standing. Right to where I'm standing, and he was hung on the southwest corner of the square. Where the men, women, and children came to stare at him, throw stuff at him. Eventually he was taken down and put to rest. A 17-year-old boy. It just, when I was reading that story, I knew I couldn't tell that story in the 4-minute period it gave me for the contest, but just thinking about that, and I'm one to where, you know, the way things are right now, I always talk about, you know, man, it'd be nice if things went back just a little bit to when times were just quieter. But I realized I don't want it to go back too far. Life was different back then. Life was crazy. I would have never thought that my quiet little sleepy town could have ever been, I don't know, just, and could have been like that. So it gave me a whole new perspective on Newark, Ohio in general. So anyway, just wanted to tell that quick little story. I encourage everybody to take a closer look at their hometowns, look back, look at when it was established, and just look at the way things are now. I am definitely grateful for progress in certain aspects. Anyway, be blessed, you too.